Hi, my name is Ken Hamilton, CEO of Total Tech, and I'd like to welcome you to Have You Configured It Out? Our ongoing video series highlighting key technology partners and their product offerings. In this segment, we will be further highlighting award winning Sophos with their latest product, Sophos Rapid Response. I am so excited about this one. Lightning fast incident response. Before we move on, though, I want to thank all of you for watching and listening. And please don't forget to subscribe, sign up for our notifications, and please smash that like button. All right. Today we have with us Kris Wayman from Sophos and Derek Snyder, our two most prevalent experts here with Sophos. Very excited to have them today. Hey guys, how are you doing?
Doing good, Ken.
Yep, doing
Fantastic.
good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, love having you guys. Love this style. I think we're going to keep this podcast style unless folks yell and scream at us in the notification box that they want something different at all. But let's jump right into Sophos Rapid Response. Really excited about this product that you guys have come up with. Derek, do you want to kind of, I guess, jump right in and let's get started and chat a little bit more about this?
Yep, absolutely. And again, thanks for having us. We've been loving this series. Have you configured it out? We had Kris with us last time as well, talking about our MTR service. Today, we're going to talk about rapid response. Before we do, like always like to remind you guys where Sophos plays and what we do, right? And this slide has a lot on it. I'm not going to go through every piece, but maybe something here will jar your memory. You have some project coming up and you'll keep Total Tech and Sophos in mind as you go through those projects, but end-to-end protection. So Intercept X, our flagship endpoint product, our XG next gen firewall, those two sharing intelligence for our synchronized security piece. And then we've got a lot of stuff in between there, right? Between wireless and email and mobile, encryption, as well as cloud optics, our public cloud visibility and compliance tool. So a bunch of stuff in there as far as our offerings go, help you with your security, kind of help consolidate and save time and management resources there. So just a quick reminder there for you. Yep, Ken?
Fantastic, fantastic. And
Yep.
I mean, I know last time we spoke about Sophos managed threat response, and I thought that it was such a great segue for us to really kind of jump into the rapid response because they're related, right? They're kinship, so to speak. And so I'm really excited, and I think you've got a really good slide here, Derek, if you want to
Yep.
talk about that in the
Yep,
relation.
great point as far as how they're all kind of related. So on the left-hand side there, with Sophos, no matter what we do, always starts with protection. Doesn't matter what cool features and shiny things we have, it's got to start with the best protection first, and that's our Intercept X product, the endpoint protection. And then on the right side, so on the left side is protection, right? That's stopping, most of the threats that are fairly easy to stop. From there, what you need as a customer today in cybersecurity or as an admin or whatever your role is, you need to have somebody that's actually taking that further, right? Yes, tools and automation can do a great job, but then beyond that, what are you going to do to find these threats within your environment earlier before they become a big problem? I actually just read an article this morning. Our chief product officer, Dan Chiappa, just posted on Forbes an article about 5 warning signs that ransomware may be about to hit you, which I found very interesting. A couple of those points he hits on, looking out for some of these tools within your environment that can, stop security, products that can stop services, other tools that can do, network scans and port scans and things. How are you going to stop those on your network or be able to spot them, I should say, before that ransomware attack hits, right? So EDR is our endpoint detection response on the right there, so you can do it yourself. That involves you having some skills and time to be able to do threat hunting and querying, and we have that as part of Sophos if you like to do it yourself. MTR is that managed threat response service. This is having our team of Sophos guys, the experts in the SOC, doing that for you round the clock 24/7. I guarantee that MTR team can do that at a much better cost for you, and probably their expertise, even better than what you can do yourself with the EDR, unless you have a big team built out already. And that brings us to rapid response and how are they kind of related. If you have MTR, um, this is not for you. You don't need rapid response if you have MTR as a separate, service, right? It comes with your MTR service. If you had any sort of outbreak, any sort of active incident, and you had MTR, you're already going to have that team involved with you, helping you neutralize the threat and respond and do all of that. So rapid response, though, is the incident response. Um, if you are having an active incident and you're not already a Sophos MTR customer. And that really brings us to, maybe some other questions that Ken might have for us. But
Yeah. So what's really interesting, and I think as you mentioned some, let me go back for a second. So for Sophos Rapid Response, you don't have to be a customer. If you already have Sophos MTR, then you already have that kind of built in. Is that that's correct, right?
correct. Yep.
Oh,
And we'll get into that, I think, a little bit more on the next
okay.
slide after this as well.
Excellent. And so when I think about when we think about the limitations and other uh, companies providing this kind of service, what would you say? How does Sophos differentiate itself? And what are potentially? I mean, I imagine that there are other products and product solutions that deliver, but they may have limitations. Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. These fall under what's called DFIR, Digital Forensics and Incident Response. That's the acronym at the top. So if you ever hear anybody talking about DFIR, that's what this is. Rapid response is very much an incident response service, and those are discrete things, right? Digital forensics a lot of times has to do with gathering evidence for legal purposes or shareholders, that kind of thing. A lot of times we're actually engaged with a forensics company, depending on the size of the account, but we're going to talk about incident response, and that's what this is.
Gotcha.
So when you look at traditional incident response services, there's a couple things that, frankly, we didn't agree with the way that they happened. So we built a service that was fundamentally different. So traditional incident response, um, it can take a long time, not only from inception to getting you the help you need, but also the length of the service is a lot of times drawn out. And there's a couple reasons for that. It just takes a little bit longer to engage, but also most incident response services are billed hourly. So what we've done with rapid response is actually tried to realign that with a fixed cost service so that our motives are the same as your motives, right? We want to get through the incident as quickly as possible. We don't care about maybe driving up the meter or doing anything like that. We want to make sure that we get you the help you need and give you a fixed cost so you can budget for what the incident is and you can have kind of a break point to move forward from that incident as opposed to having it draw out.
Totally.
Sorry, go
Excellent.
ahead, Ken. Yeah.
No, I think that that's excellent, and I think that really gives the focus on what Sophos does very well, focusing in on being able to solve the issue, and that being the 100% focus and nothing else, right?
And I think let me just add a little bit, and some of these points on this slide, again, I think you guys could probably read it as Kris was talking there if you wanted, but with many other incident response services, having to wait, spend time waiting, whether it's for, like one of these points says, waiting for boots on the ground that may not really be necessary, right? We can do a lot of work remotely to neutralize that attack quickly, which is really the first key, right? Um, so not having to wait, again, whether it's boots on ground or just wait to schedule the actual engagement, right? We are engaging very quickly, which we'll see here in just a minute as we talk a little bit about some of the details and kind of average times and responses that we see as we go through that. And then you see a lot of these other services that some of these DFIR models are providing, right? That again, things that you may not need, right? Some of this e-discovery and for full scale forensics and some of these things, where we can do a lot of that deep dive as part of our rapid response without you having to pay extra for those services. So
Excellent, very good. And so, when we talk about rapid response, and I know that you guys have already had a tremendous amount of success with this, but you know, who is there a particular type of client or a customer? I think we've said before you don't have to be a customer of Sophos and to use that and to get that engagement. Is that right? And
Yeah, I would
that's
say the only person or organization that's not a rapid response potential customer is somebody that's got MTR already. And that's because you have an incident response component that's built into it. We talked a little bit about that in the last video, but everybody else, doesn't matter what size organization, from the one person shop all the way up to tens of thousands of endpoints that we deal with. And that's another big difference for us, is that a lot of times DFIR is unapproachable or cost prohibitive for smaller organizations. And we're talking smaller, like under 1,000 seats is kind of that smaller cap. And there's a ton of organizations that get hit with ransomware every day or have an event. We've built this to serve the whole breadth of customers that come to us that experience incidents. So really, there's not a minimum. I wouldn't say we've dealt with people that have 5 computers. We've dealt with people that have tens of thousands. So we kind of run the gambit on this stuff.
Oh, excellent. Fantastic. And then I think we already talked about kind of the packaging of the product itself, right? So traditionally there's others, competitors per se, that would maybe package this on an hourly basis. And there's additional pieces and parts and products, versus Sophos is basically is a flat fee. Is that correct? And it's kind of all encompassing in if you're looking at a competitive kind of view of other solutions. Is that accurate, Derek?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's cost per endpoint. We bundle it. It's a 45-day fixed engagement. Essentially, all you have to do to get help is execute the statement of work that our team sends to you, and we put you on the kickoff calendar with our incident responders to start getting the help you need pretty immediately to get that done. So fixed 45-day engagement that entails a couple other things. We deal with the initial threat, but then we also move you into some ongoing monitoring to make sure there's no other ancillary attacks or events that kind of come as part of that.
I think that's really excellent because it keeps it simplified. So in this case, it's an emergency situation. Many times, as we know, these threats may have been lingering there, and we find them later on. And the quicker that you can move and and get the ability to execute for the client and customer, I think the much better off the success and the speed of how you move is, which is fantastic. Excellent.
And I know we're going to hit on it again later, but it bears repeating probably a few times today. But the 45-day piece and the ongoing monitoring piece after we're done with that initial engagement or rapid response, if you will, the active incident, once we've neutralized that continuation of the monitoring for that 45-day period is huge. We know from our labs and just public information that often they're secondary attacks, right? There's some foothold still in there possibly, or they have your number now. They're going to hit you again, right? After the fact, knowing what they can do to get back in, or knowing that maybe you had your guard down or something. But having that secondary attack come up, if you don't have any monitoring, you're going to get hit again. So where those traditional models are going to maybe take care of the active incident and then they leave you on your own again, well, then you get hit again. Now you're going to pay them again, right? So
Absolutely.
we're there monitoring for 45 days to make sure that the secondary attacks are taken care of as well.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I'll just put this, and this is probably for, I guess, the segue into our next fantastic video. But, the one thing that I noticed with Sophos is the holistic ecosystem, right? And the potential telemetry opportunity that you have, not only with the Sophos Central, but also with the other product solutions, the one pane of glass, but also including the XG firewall. And it really kind of brings that connection together, really to bring a whole kind of control and ecosystem as it pertains to security as a whole. And I think that rapid response is an excellent piece to solve these kind of incidents, threats, and then hopefully, part of that improvement can be the expansion of their security and their telemetry, so that they're gathering all the data in the future.
Yep. And we like to call that ecosystem like cybersecurity as a system, right? Bringing everything together, having it work together kind of holistically, and taking some automated action as well to help prevent some, things from spreading when there are certain incidents within your network or environment.
Excellent.
So yeah, that cybersecurity as a system piece is huge.
Right. And then in this case, when we talk about this particular incident, I have been involved in bringing on, as an example, a new IT service business. And before we brought them on, of course, what happened? They had a very serious incident, and there at the time there wasn't this type of rapid response, this quick type of, okay, let's get this started. I mean, roughly. You have some numbers there, but generally you can start the onboarding very quickly here. Is that right, Derek and Kris?
Yep,
Yeah,
very quickly. Like
absolutely.
Kris talked about the statement of work, and I think we have another slide which will kind of detail the whole process a little bit more coming up on the next slide. But yeah, generally there's some of that kind of working, uh, in parallel there as you're on the phone, and statement of works are being worked on. We're on the phone discussing with you the incident, getting details, figuring out what the next steps will be.
Fantastic.
You had something else to add, Kris, to that?
No, I was just going to say, typically the wait time is generally from, sending over the statement of work, getting approval. That typically takes longer on the customer side, getting approval, than it does for our team to, schedule you and start getting some immediate answers. And a lot of times, even before the kickoff call starts, we have some processes in place. We have an understanding of kind of who the attacker was and what they've done in the environment. So there's like Derek said, there's a lot of parallel things that are going on to try and get you help as fast as we can.
Excellent. And also you had mentioned that, which is here in slides talks about the ongoing monitoring for 45 days, which is key. And it also ties into and it's 24/7 round the clock threat hunting and detection. And so to make sure that we can get any leftover or reattack kind of issues handled. Is that right, guys?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I would say, if you're not sure what that entails, watch our previous session on MTR, and you can learn a little bit more what we do with that monitoring and threat hunting and some of those queries, and so what we do with some of that stuff.
Yeah, and we kind of break down the event. Derek, I don't know if it's the next slide or one after, but it's this one. So we break down the incident response component really into those first three phases. And even that is kind of forked. So you'll notice at the bottom, part of the initial engagement is deployment. A lot of times what we see is either with like a new customer, they don't have InterceptX installed at all. And like Derek said at the beginning, that's where we found that's the tool set. So we have to get that rolled out. So part of this service is rapid deployment of that across the estate. The other side is, a lot of times if we have an existing customer that's been hit, they have unprotected assets that were part of the vector that an adversary used to get in. So we have to go protect those as quickly as possible too. So that deployment is happening concurrent to our incident responders, and that's kind of that middle track there where we do a kickoff call. And that's really step one. Within the first couple hours after we execute the statement of work, we set expectations and kind of what we're looking for, initial findings, all that kind of stuff. And then it moves into that triage and analysis phase where we're really looking to put out the fire, I guess. This is like acutely focused at dealing with the active incident. And frankly, that usually takes 2 to 3 days on average for our customers to make sure you're getting in and stamping out any persistence, really evicting the adversary, and stopping them from propagating or doing anything else. And part of that is, in our intake, we try to understand what the high priority systems are for you as our customer. So this isn't like take everything offline and then let's bring them on systematically. This is, okay, you need to run payroll. You've got estimating software you have a bid that's due. Every customer is going to be different. So we work with you to understand what the high priority systems are that we need to bring back online, ensure they're clean, and kind of work out from that. And then you move into the purple box, which is containment neutralization. That usually takes anywhere from about 2 weeks is probably the average, actually. And that's like holistically combing the environment to make sure there aren't any follow-up things. Because the reality is, when an adversary gets into your environment, they've typically set up multiple mechanisms of what's called persistence, right? Ways that they can get back in if you evict them somehow. So we're going through and systematically making sure the entire threat is contained and neutralized. We kind of give it the clean bill of health. And then that transitions in for the remainder of the 45 days into the MTR team, where we're looking at, we've kind of taken the blinders off, right? We're not just looking at the acute incident. We're looking at what else is going on. What else do we need to look at? Are there indicators of compromise from other types of attacks that are completely unrelated? That's what the MTR team is doing. And that's kind of that, let's make sure there's not another adversary in there that had set up shop or whatever. So this is kind of the quick run through of procedurally what our team does.
Yep. And then just to kind of highlight, which was mentioned earlier, was mentioned by Kris earlier, I think at the outset there, but our incentives are aligned with the customer's goals, right? Which is, as it says, get out of the danger zone, right? Contain it, neutralize it very quickly. That's what we want to do. We have no benefit because we're not charging you hourly. There's no incentive for us to drag that out. We want to, shrink that down as short as time as possible, get you in a good state so you can, like Kris said, take care of those bids and payrolls and all of that, and get things back to somewhat normal, right? And get you into a monitoring and protection mode at that point.
Excellent.
So we're all aligned together there.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think, again, that's what exactly the clients and customers are looking for, right? Making sure that we've got the focus on them. And I think that this solution and the way that Sophos has laid it out very succinctly, very straightforward, and really taking and simplifying it and making it as easy as possible to get in there and execute, and making sure that we can get things cleaned up and recovered properly. And I'm very, very excited about this, and to be able to make sure that we can communicate to as many people as we can to talk to them about this solution. And I know that you guys have had a lot of calls already, and have been staying pretty busy with clients and really helping them. So this is really, really exciting stuff, guys. And I am just really happy and excited that we were able to present this today. And I know that Derek and Kris, we're going to be asking you to come back if you would, so that we can do some more of these videos, because there's a lot from the Sophos side that they have to offer, and especially in talking about the ecosystem. I'm sorry, Derek, were you going to?
Yeah, well, that's a good point that as we start to close out here, though, talking about the cybersecurity as a system and all of that and working together, rapid response is awesome. We'd love to be able to help you if you need it, but we would prefer you don't need rapid response, right? So we would prefer that you look at your security as a whole, right? And where are some of your gaps and where can Sophos help you, right? Look at all the common vectors. Do you have good email filtering, right? Because that's a huge vector, right? You have RDP open to public. Do you have, again, tools in your environment that maybe you don't need in there, or could be, maybe locked down further. So there's a lot of those things. Look at all your security across the board, segmenting your network. There's all kinds of things, right? Preventing lateral movement, but taking a look holistically at all that stuff before you need rapid response. As great as this service is, as much as Kris loves working on the rapid response team and helping provide some of this to you, I know he would rather you be protected as well. Get out in front of this stuff. Don't just wait and use this like, well, I've got rapid response, I'll just call them after the fact. You're going to be going through a lot of pain still, right? Potentially losses, whether it's time or money or resources, whatever it is, or data, God forbid. But right, don't wait and just use this later as an insurance thing, sort of, right? You want to get out in front of it and get the protection in place. So we will hit on more of that, as Ken said, in some coming sessions. As we close out here, this slide, you can see it, but keep this, screenshot it, commit it to memory. But essentially, if you have an active incident, give Sophos customer support a call, give Ken at Total Tech a call, and we can get that rapid response team, going quick for you for any active incident, so we can help you out there.
Fantastic, guys. Well, thanks so much, and look forward to doing this again. We're going to keep these coming, and very excited about rapid response. And guys, take care, be safe, and we'll be following up really soon with this stuff.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone.
Take care. Thanks.